Hey, my name is Takaya and in this video I'm going to talk about some of my recent reads. First off, I'd like to say I'm sorry that I haven't uploaded any videos recently. I have been ill and I didn't have much of a voice, so I couldn't record videos for a while. I hope my voice sounds a bit more normal now. So in this video I'm going to talk about a lot of the books that I read the past while. It's been over a month, I think, so let's just get into it. The first book that I read since the last video I posted is A Night on the Orient Express by Veronica. I buddy read this together with Emily from Novelle Novels. This wasn't my first Veronica book. I've read a couple of hers. And while I liked this book, I didn't love it. The book follows a bunch of characters that go on the Orient Express and that all make this journey for various reasons. So each individual storyline was pretty good, but I felt that there were a bit too many characters and storylines to keep track of sometimes, and they didn't intersect as much as I was hoping for. So it was an enjoyable read, but not one of my favorite books of hers. Next up, I read Old Haunts by A.J. Copperman. This is book 3 in the Haunted Guesthouse mystery series. Earlier this year I read books 1 and 2 in this series and I have made reviews of those. I read this book together with a friend. She's not on BookTube, and we both really enjoyed this book. In this series we have our main character, Allison, and she moves into this old guest house that she is now running as a job. But in this guest house there are also 2 ghosts and they help her solve mysteries. This is the 3rd book, and in this book we have a couple of mysteries going on, and also some things happened in like the characters' personal lives. Overall, I enjoyed this installment in the series. There was one weird thing I noticed in this book, and that is that a character, a side character, is asked to describe a person, and so they describe this person and like the hair and eye color, but their skin color is never mentioned, and that seemed kind of weird to me. Now, the skin color of none of the people I think in this book is mentioned, but yeah, that just seems like, if you were to describe a person, wouldn't you describe the skin color as well? Like, yeah, I don't know. That was just one minor thing that I noticed. Then I read a short story called Halloween in Tangleton. This was a free short story by Shawn Inmon that he sent with his newsletter. I'm holding up my Kindle as sort of a placeholder. This short story was only free if you were subscribed to the newsletter, so I'm just going to be really quick about it. It was a really quick Halloween story. It was a fun, enjoyable read. A couple of things were predictable, but I read it just before Halloween, so yeah, it was nice. Then I read Fruits Basket Volume 13. And Fruits Basket Volume 14. Sorry about this big sticker on it. We haven't been able to get it off. I enjoyed Volume 14 more than 13, but both of them were enjoyable. This series is about the Soma family, whose members have a curse in that they can change into a zodiac animal. And the main character is Tor Honda, who is not part of this family, but who moves in with them after she loses her mother and has nowhere to live. I would say it's young adult, and yeah, these volumes were enjoyable and I look forward to reading more in the series. The next book I finished was Judas, Unchained by Peter F. Hamilton. This is book 2 in the Commonwealth Saga duology, and this was a reread for me. Book 1 is Pandora's Star, which I reread in September. And then book 2 is Judas Unchained, which I started on October 1st and I finished partway through November. It's a big book, so it took me a while to read. It has 1235 pages, this particular copy. Although this cover, this edition is no longer being sold. They have different covers now. Anyway, this series is epic, space opera, science fiction, hard science fiction. I've talked about this author on my channel before. I really like his books, but they're not for everyone. And yeah, I really enjoyed my reread of this. This series is Basically, humanity has spread out among many planets, and they're called the Commonwealth, and they detect that two faraway stars suddenly disappear, and so they're building a spaceship to find out, more about this. Because in this universe, humanity actually travels by wormholes, so they don't actually have many spaceships. So yeah, that's very basically what the story is about, but it's, yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I was also happy to finally complete my reread of it and move on to some short books. The last two books I read are by the same author, and they are Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali and Saints and Misfits by S.K. Ali. Saints and Misfits is her debut novel. Love from A to Z is her second novel. However, I read Love from A to Z first because the synopsis of this one appealed to me more. Both of these books came recommended to me by Saajid. He is a Muslim, and these books feature Muslim rap, their own voices Muslim rap, and so he raved about these books and I wanted to read them. So these books are both the young adult contemporaries. First, Love from A to Z is about Zainab and Adam. They're both Muslim and they meet on a plane. Now, Zainab is dealing with Islamophobia at her school. There's in particular one teacher who is a racist and an Islamophobe, basically. And she is the only Muslim in the class. So when she gets suspended from school after getting angry at this teacher, she travels by plane to Doha, Qatar. And Adam is also traveling there because he is in college and he visits his family who lives in Qatar, and he is struggling with his recent diagnosis of MS. He lost his mother, so he's traveling to his father and his little sister. And yeah, so this topic, this book deals with Islamophobia, MS, grief, and yeah, I thought it was really, really good. I absolutely loved this book. Yeah. I also loved all the Muslim rap in it. I haven't read, I think, any books before with really good Muslim rap, so this was really, really good, and we definitely need all sorts of diverse representation. So after that, I picked up the author's debut novel because I liked Love from A to Z so much that I felt in the mood to then read the author's debut novel, which is Saints and Misfits. Trigger warning for rape with this book and sexual assault. This book is about Jana or Jana, I'm not entirely sure. She is a Muslim, and another person who is also a Muslim and who is really respected in her community, he attempts to rape her. And the story is basically about her dealing with that, and she also has a crush on a non-Muslim guy, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one too. I liked Love from A to Z a bit more. It's the author's second book, and this feels a little bit more like a debut, if that makes sense, like writing wise. But I also really liked this book. I wanted to keep reading it, which is always a good sign in my opinion. I liked the way the chapter headings were done, which has to do with the word saints and misfits and the word monster, which that's the person who sexually assaulted her. Also in Love from A to Z, the chapters are also done in an interesting way with marvels and oddities. Both of these characters have a journal in which they describe their marvels and oddities. So yeah, I look forward to any future books that this author publishes because I really enjoyed both of these books. And I saw on Goodreads that there is going to be a sequel to this, an untitled sequel. So if that's correct, I don't know if it is, but if that's correct, I definitely look forward to read that. So yeah, those were all the books I read recently. I may have gone through them a bit quick, I'm not sure, but yeah, I feel like people weren't really liking my long reviews all that much, so I thought I should try and be a bit quicker. I have been tagged in quite a few tags, and I will try to film all of those videos. So please be patient if you've tagged me and I know about it, I will get around to it. But it was really sucky to not be able to film for a couple of weeks while my voice was recovering. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!